Hi and welcome to Paper Crafting Tuesday. In today's video, I'll be making a tag fit for a princess. It's a very girly tag and I'm going to be using some of Julie Nutting's products. Today I thought I would make a tag to attach to a gift, maybe to give to the little princess in your life. I'm going to be using the Julie Nutting metal die cut with cling stamp set, and it comes with the dies, so there's no cutting involved. For the base, I'm going to be using one of the tags from this tag pad, also by Julie Nutting. There's 48 tags in a pack. There's 6 different patterns and 8 tags per pattern. They're big. They're 3.5 by 8.5. They're almost the thickness of a cardstock, and the design is repeated on the back as well. The front has kind of like a matte finish and the back is more glossy. So because the pattern is repeated in the back, you don't really have to do a lot. You can leave it as is and it's still pretty. The front, because it's matte, you can do any kind of color treatment that you want. You can stamp on it and it will look great. I've pulled out 2 tags from the pattern. I have this one which will act as the base, and it's in the tones of pinks and it's got a little bit of yellow, which is perfect because I'm going to add some gold to some of the accents. And I've also pulled out another tag which is in the pinkish tone, which I thought would be perfect to mimic skin tone. I'm using this paper pad, 6x6 paper pad by Prima. It is Stationer's Desk, and I've pulled out 3 patterns that I'm going to be using to stamp and die cut her clothing. To start, I'm going to be stamping, and I'm going to put away the dies for later. So I'm going to pull out the body of the doll. I'm using my stamp press, and I'm going to be stamping on the pinkish tag with jet black archival ink. Next, I'm going to stamp the blouse and the shoes in this burgundy pattern. I've left enough space between the shirt and the shoes so that I'll be able to die cut it properly. Next is her top blouse, which is going to be in the script pattern. Then I believe this is a skirt. I'm going to choose an area where I get nice pattern effect. And since I have this bed already out, I'm going to stamp the hair inside this oval here. So now that all my stamping is done, I'm going to die cut. I have the magnetic platform with a cutting pad, and I'm going to place the girl here. The die, I've noticed, does not leave a white border. So you can easily line it up with the inside lines here that you see poking through her arms and the legs. And I know I'm well positioned when the black doesn't show much through the die. I'm going to place another pad and I'm going to cut. Poke through the holes very gently, just to help it out. And there she is. I just need to remove the inside pieces. And now I'm going to do the rest for the clothing. I also have this die set by Spellbinders. It's called Labels 20. And a piece of leftover from the blouse. So I'm going to use the second to largest die, and I'm going to go ahead and run this through the machine. I'll be cutting and embossing. I decided that her hair was a little bit too bland for me, so I'm adding some vintage photo distress ink just around the edges. And don't worry if you get any on the face, because it will be covered up by this face right here. Now I can start assembling. I'm going to use some quick dry adhesive to add to the back of her head. I just realized I forgot to cut the bangs, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that in the same paper that I did her hair. So I'm gonna ink up the bangs as well. I have a distress marker in antique linen. I'm going to use that to create some shadows around the hairline. And the sleeves. And underneath the dress. Like this. Maybe just a tad under the chin. I'm going to create some gold accents on her with the Wink of Stella gold glitter gold brush. I'm going to put some here on that big button, on the trim of that little sweater, and the 3 small buttons on her dress, and just above that black line here on the shoes. Like this. I just realized that my poor little girl has no face, so I'm just gonna dot 2 eyes and make sort of like a little comma. Next I have this lace sticker by Prima. It's a gorgeous half doily. I'm going to take antique linen and I'm going to stain it because it's a little too white for my taste. I'm going to let that soak for a while and then I'll just use a rag to remove the excess that's on the plastic. It's tough to see on the camera, but there's definitely a tint to it. And just so that I have more gold accents, I'm going to take the Wink of Stella and I'm going to go over the leaves. Next I want to add some gold shimmer to this piece, but I didn't have a gold spray. Well, I made my own using the golden fluids in iridescent gold deep and some rubbing alcohol. All you need is a mister bottle. I've already tested it out, so that's why I have some liquid in there, but it's very easy. All you need to do is pour some rubbing alcohol into a misting bottle. If you have a smaller bottle, you can use a pipette for that. I like to have a lot of shimmer, but let's say that you were to do a half bottle. I would put about 5 or 6 drops of paint. I'm just going to add a couple more since I've already done it before. And then you just recap this, you shake it. And you mist. And check this out. Isn't this the coolest thing ever? Now, because the rubbing alcohol evaporates, your paper is going to return to its original state, no problem, because right now it's wet, of course, it warps. But the cool thing also is that once it dries, because the paint that you're using already has a binding agent, there's no worries that the shimmer will rub off. It will actually stay because it's paint. It's already started drying, so as you can see, it's slowly going back to its original state. And look at that shimmer. Wah! So if you own the iridescent paints by Golden, you can create your own sprays. Pretty cool. I have a pack of wood embellishments from Prima. This is the Princess collection, and I'm going to be using a crown, and I'm going to spray this with my very own shimmer mist, and we'll see how the paint sticks to the actual wood. There's a slight veneer, not veneer, but it's already painted and distressed, so we'll see how that reacts. I'm just going to let that sit for a while, and then I'll show you how it looks once it's dry. Well, that was cool. Here's the original one. So there's definitely a shimmer to the crown, but it's not as pronounced as the tag, but it's there, it stayed there, which I'm quite happy about. This is the sheet that I used to cut out her hair, and I'm going to use one of those. I'm going to cut it out. I'm just going to distress the edges, and I'm going to add some vintage photo around it. I decided to add to the tag by using up all the little bits and pieces of paper. So I tore bits and pieces of the paper, and I'm going to distress the edges of these 3 little strips with some vintage photo. And that little rosebud I made also with leftover paper, and I'm going to show you how to do that. It's very easy. I cut circles in the leftovers. They don't have to be big. I just cut it with the scissors, and then I'm going to go around and cut into the circle in a circular pattern as well. And depending on how high you want your rose, the higher you want it, the larger your strips are going to be. Mine are going to be about this high. And next I'm going to take my tweezers, and I'm going to start rolling. I'm going to pinch the end here of the rose, and I'm going to start rolling around the tweezer. And it goes fairly quickly. You don't have to be precise. You don't have to hold it too tight, because we're going to have to let go eventually. We're going to relax the circle. So I'm rolling on the wrong side facing me, because when the rose uncurls, I want to see that nice burgundy pattern and not the white. The paper that I'm using is not double-sided, so. Alright, so I removed the tweezer, and now I'm going to put it on the table and let it go. In the meantime, I'm going to do the other one. This end here, this is the surface where the rose is going to sit on, and it's going to give us that glue tab that we need. Now this one, I'm going to put glue on that glue tab right here. And I'm going to hold it in place until the glue has done its job. And I'm going to do the other one. Once my flowers are dry, I'm going to zap it with just a little bit of my homemade gold spritz. So I'm going to start assembling. My lace sticker is going to go directly onto the burgundy label. Like this. We're not going to see that border there because the girl is going to sit like this. So I'm going to start with the 3 little pieces here. have some pink bling here. I just happen to have this on hand, but obviously any bling would do. You can put clear, would be nice. I'm just gonna pop that at the end of her crown. As a finishing touch, I have a bit of white acrylic paint on my fingers, and I'm just gonna go around the edges and some of that, some of the pieces here. I have a piece of cream colored sheer ribbon, about 12 inches I would say. And I'm going to put that through the hole of the tag. I really like how this tag turned out. It's definitely something that I'm not used to doing. I'm not a very girly girl type of crafting person, but I think she's just so darling. I fixed up her eyes. She looked very angry, so I decided to do some more doodling on her. Love the bling on the crown. I love the very subtle gold shimmer that I get from my homemade spray that I made with the golden iridescent gold deep fluid acrylic paint and some rubbing alcohol. Very easy to do. And I'm going to be showing you a close-up of all the different elements. Love these. The wood embellishments, gorgeous. Love them. And of course, her clothes that have been paper pieced very easily with the dies, of course. So easy to use. Love that sticker. I love how it turned out. Kind of gives you that faux doily effect. Our little roses, little rosebuds, done with leftover paper. So in essence, I used up all the bits and pieces of the 3 papers that I took from the pad. And in the back you have not just a plain paper, but you have the pattern that shows as well. And you can write whatever message you want on there. So it's a very shabby chic, very girly girl tag. So I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. As usual, thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below, and I will see you on Friday.